Well, hi there, all you racing fans, and welcome to another edition of Winning Ways, where Paul and I are going to be chatting to David Raphael later on. David Raphael, you might remember, called a couple of horses in South Africa, but we called one during the week at the Val. We got him to call a 6-horse race. We threw him, you know what, we threw him a curve ball. There were two horses from one trainer and 2 horses in the same colours. So they both, none of them had nosebands, and he was under pressure. It's 10 years since he called.
Yeah, a decade off. James, I was very impressed with the call. I listened to the race. He hasn't lost it. Yeah. It's like riding a bicycle. He's a superb commentator. We can all remember him, James, from the Pride of South Africa, London. Yeah. He's going back that far.
We'll see it. We're going to show it, yeah. And then we'll put him under the cosh.
He's a top racing man.
Yeah, and he's obviously the head honcho from Australia of Equine Hub, which we're launching. Well, we're not launching, but we're presenting this week at the National Equus Awards. So, you know, we're hoping we get a lot of people come to see it.
I think you will do. I listened to the one you did at Sunfield. I thought it was excellent.
Yeah.
Jim, I want to talk sport with you, because let's go golf, because it kept me up till late hours. I was funking for Tiger.
Yeah,
great
everyone
display.
He's just unbelievable, Tiger.
Unbelievable.
We all love him now because we know he's human.
Yeah,
you know? When he was winning 14 majors, and he was just one of those guys, no one really, you know.
And the guy who beat him, Tarzan, with the small shirts.
Yeah.
His sleeves. He must be a scarp from the Midwest or something. He's got these arms are like my legs, and he's got the tightest T-shirt on. Doesn't affect his game.
They couldn't find extra large in that, mate.
I watched all the golfers. All of them had loose sleeves, except this Tarzan. Yeah. And but he can play. To his credit, it's his 3rd major, and I was funky, the guy would beat him.
He's won 4 tournaments, 3 majors.
That's fantastic.
How's that for a record?
Yeah, I believe the O's signed it as Koepka, Brooks Koepka.
Yeah.
And James, when I watched him play, I realised, because I was laughing at his build and that, you know. And then I thought last year's winner's a great player. Yeah. He was in there for a long time. How was Tiger's putt in the first? Now, you're a golfer.
I was, unfortunately, in the Equine Hub meeting. I saw nothing.
He goes for the first. It's just it's a great putt. It didn't go in. Then he birdies the next 2, and he's 10 under instead of being 11 under. Yeah. Tiger got into that game very quickly, eh?
Yeah, well, he's fantastic, Tiger. He's just a fantastic golfer.
Yeah.
Adam Scott, back to the long putter, a whole different ball game. No dark glasses.
Yeah, that's right.
Wasn't that interesting?
I was going to ask you another thing about Tiger. The first 9 holes, there are 7 fairways because 2 are par 3s. He has like 0 for 7. He couldn't hit a fairway, Tiger, and he kept getting lower and lower.
He's a great player.
Yeah, sure.
But more importantly, it was start of the Premier League. I didn't want to mention this, okay?
Fantastic.
Because I watched Arsenal.
Your boys.
They were useless at the back again. How did Bernardo Silva score that goal? He just rolled into the middle of the penalty area and just slotted it in. It was no one. There were
Man City haven't missed a beat. They've come back. They've taken on 2 teams in London in 2 weeks, or in a week, and they rolled Chelsea. They rolled Arsenal. We don't want to play them for a long time. Yeah. They're a brilliant side. I thought Liverpool looked excellent. They've bought well. Their Keita looks a good player. They're going to be a team that is going to push them a bit. They were 21 points behind them. They got to close it to single figures to show they've made progress. Spurs were woeful second half, good first half. I don't know if they're tired from the World Cup, whatever. I thought Man United weren't that good. I thought Leicester matched them in most departments. Yeah. They got a penalty and they stuck Man United up. But of the big 4s that have played, or the big 4 from last year, I think they all won. Yeah. So it augurs well. And
you know, I was chatting to a mate of yours over the weekend, Neil Tovey.
Oh, yes.
He said, watch Watford. He says they'll finish higher, then they'll finish lower.
Yeah, they always start well. They start
well. He says they bought very well.
Yeah. Yeah. Fulham, Stevie B's team, they spent 100 million. No championship team in the history of the game spent that much. Amazing. But it's going to be good, James. And don't forget, it's bragging rights. Like you and I have bets on the golf and on the rugby and that. You've got to get your last one standing bets in.
Oh, that's right. We've got last man standing. That's always good. I always go out first week.
You're just a bonus bond. You just donate. Take 2 this time, James. So you got 2 weeks.
So I go out twice the first week. You have to go long.
I know guys who take 10 and they think, well, I'll spend $1,000. I'll take 10 tickets because I want to win the prize to go overseas. Yeah. And they put 5 on one team.
Yeah.
They go, poof. They're down to a half. It's never easy, but the Joburg contingent coming strong. I made Mark Curry, Joe Sommer, Larry Weinstein. They all come for this.
But they're all Spurs supporters, old nuts.
No, Larry's not.
Larry's not?
No, Larry doesn't support Spurs.
Who does he support?
I think he's Man United. Yeah, Robert Shimmer, Man United. But Robert Sham's given up racing.
Yeah, no, Robert Sham's
given up racing. He's a property developer. All right, gentlemen, let's go and look at some good horses.
Let's go and see 3 to follow. Right, well, we're going to Kenilworth, and we're going to have a look at a first-timer. We've got a couple of first-timers that won, and we think they're both very nice horses. This is the Platinum team, Andre Nel Karari. It's bred by them out of, this can run. Let's go and pick it up at the start.
Yeah, James, I saw this. I was watching racing at home before the Spurs game. I saw this horse go down. I said, what is this horse? Then it came out the gates like it was a catapult.
Yeah.
It got shooting off the front, and the rider, Greg Sheen, just lets it ease back and lets one of the fancied runners run up next to it. What I liked about this, James, is he's sitting dead still on this horse. When they ask it to run, it pulverizes the field.
Yeah, it looked like a nice horse too.
Oh, beautiful horse, James. Yeah. This is a beautiful horse. This horse will win races. Okay. Its action's good, everything. Look at it. The horse on the inside might even head it here. Greg Sheen sitting still. The dangers behind come under the whip. And Greg says, he just stretches his arms out and says, let's go, guys. And this is a horse you've got to follow, guys. This can run like hell.
Karari, very interesting. He really is just keeping building his blocks, and he looks like he really is a stallion of the future. He goes well definitely with these type of mares, Fort Wood mares.
He had a very good juvenile winner, well, not juveniles anymore, but with Calvary, very fast horse by Karari. So Karari's doing the job, but this horse, you know, pleased to meet you, James.
Pleased to meet you. Well, I'm pleased to meet you too. Okay, we're going to move on, and we go to Turfentine. Race 4, Saturday this was. They went 1,160 meters, and another homebred. Funny enough, all 3 are bred by their owners, so yes, the horses that we picked up. And this is Gimme the Green Light, out of very good mare, Akenfeet. So,
wow, fantastic mare.
So Lammerskral, this wins a very good race. Yeah. Let's go and pick it up at the start in the Lammerskral colours, and take a look at what happens to this at the start. It actually just completely gets taken out. Look at it, just one on
in the dance. It's called Jim. It's last. Blink Kamala brings it the outside. He doesn't panic, you know, because the pace is on. You know, Green Pastures, Rock Sensation, they going hard, and this horse just edges herself into it. This is a smart filly, because same as Pleased to Meet You, this is going to win races. Here, Jim, he's given it a chance on the outside.
Yeah, there's decent pace. A couple of horses with some quite nice form in this race. Rock Sensation, Candace Dawson's horse, certainly looked like it had the form. And Rock and Roll Dancer, that ran second first time out for Stuart Pettigrew. That was a hot favourite in the race in Ivan Sneyman's colours.
How's this horse quicken? James, now put them to bed. And he gives it a smack or two to straighten it up because it's running away from the grandstand. And here, James, she wants to put her ears forward. She's got 3.5 lengths. Look at that. This is very good filly, this. She got left and she won a street.
Very, very convincing. As you say, another one that we think that we should be with, certainly a filly that will win a lot more races. We then move on to the 8th race. 1,600 meters they go, and Mike de Kock stepped out, a very nice filly by Mambo in Seattle for Chris Kerber.
Yeah, Chris, one of the good guys of the game, a great player in the industry, and he's got a good team together now, Chris. He's getting organised. And this horse, I heard Matthew de Kock talking about it, it's got a good chance, it's working well. It was first time over a mile, didn't know much about racing. Gets a fairly decent rider when you consider where it ends up from the draw. But I think greenness is the only thing that beats it.
Yeah, well, we go and watch the race. Let's go and pick him up. You've drawn 10, and you've got Muzi on board it. He does a marvellous job to get this thing over and get on the fence. You know, he finds himself in front of the second last horse and right on the fence now. Second last, yellow cap with little epaulets, blue colours. third from the back.
The pace is on, James. The horse called a Belly goes out there and makes it hot for David Nieuwenhuizen, and a little Lux up there for Alec Laird. But this horse is just sitting quietly, Moosey, and just if you want to be severely critical, he might have changed his stick a little bit earlier up the stretch, and it might have got there. But this is a smart debut by Noble Princess. You'll see it there, the yellow cap on the inside fence.
Yeah, and actually she has to shift out, get completely out of the race, and then run on at them. But you'll see she makes up a lot of ground on the horse that's in front that ends up winning. It was 33-1. I think it paid 100 rand a win on the tote. Interesting family, this out of Arabian Secret, Al Mufti mare. I think that's that big Ascot family, you know, for the Parkers. But you'll see now she's right in the middle of the bunch, but she comes right out and starts to run on now. But Lee's horse is in front, and she's got 5 or 6 to make.
He tries to run him beyond. Moosey straightens up. He looks like he's going to go for the whip, right-handed Moosey, but he decides to stay with the left hand. He gives it a couple of smacks, and she starts to run in. And now he realizes, I better change, which he might have done later. Once he changes the stick, look at this horse take off.
Absolutely takes off. She's going to go a trip. She's going to improve. You know, Mike always gives them a bit of a chance first time out, and they'll improve from that. They look like they'll come on and do something. So those three look like pretty nice horses, and we think that you should have a close look at them. Let's go and see what shouldn't happen. You know, big horses always want to eat little horses. But you've got a nice analogy.
Yeah, that is Warren Linferno and Kevin Shea. That's how it should be titled, The Little and Large, or Mug and Bean, whatever they call it.
Mug and Bean
with one G.
Mug and Big Mug.
Mug and Big Mug,
Okay, well, you can go and watch the full unabridged version on www.goldcircle.co.za. Go to the YouTube clip and you'll be able to see the whole show on the unabridged version. Right, we got the plum of the week, and there's a horse we told you should have a look at.
Jack. 400 metres left to go. They spread across the track, and Bunker Hunt can wait no longer. Moves up on the outside, puts his head in front, and All in Line is going to try and match him every inch of the way. Vasco Street Tractor is towards the inside, and they've pulled a couple of lengths clear. Destin racing next, then comes Benevolence, and behind that we got Sailing Lizard. It's Bunker Hunt that now stakes his claim, and he pulls clear on the inside. Vasco Street Tractor, but Bunker Hunt, if you've bankered this one, you can circle it in. Bunker Hunt from Vasco Street Tractor. All in Line, and then came Destin.
Well, this was a great start to your Saturday race meeting. We picked this up on 3 to Follow last time, and he's got the pedigree, got a beautiful name, as we said at the time, bred by Fastfontein, Dynasty, looked like the right horse. Interbet, 8 to 10, even touch of 9 to 10, you know.
That's very good odds for a plum.
Yeah. He started much shorter with the bookmakers, and he certainly was a horse worth having a bet on. Start your weekend off well. We're going to take a break. We'll be back with current affairs.
Best race time odds, transparency of betting markets, friendly and super efficient staff, the ability to negotiate odds, a full service tote with no limits, which is very important for exotic players, loyalty program, speedy withdrawal of funds, full odds, multiple betting, and excellent in-play markets. These are just some of the many reasons that come to mind as to why I believe, as a serious punter, there is no online operator in South Africa that can realistically come close to matching what Interbet has to offer. Put simply, there's no other site like it, and the ability to negotiate odds adds to my fun and enjoyment. Interbet, where the professionals bet.
Right, current affairs it is, and this week we've got no races to show you from around the country, but we will be looking at a couple of races when we talk to David Raphael later. But in current affairs we've got some interesting stuff to come out with, and the first thing that I'm going to talk about is our Australasian friends. In New South Wales there's a shocking drought that's affected the racing industry and the farming industry, and I was listening to comments by Harry Arthur from Yarraman Park, who was saying that this is the worst thing that's happened to the area since the equine influenza outbreak in 2007. And everyone's getting behind it. Now, one of the things that they do in Australia is they put, New South Wales Racing put up $1 million to help aid, because the breeders, the trainers, everybody in New South Wales are now putting an owner's levy on to try and cover the cost. But the part that will interest you, James, is all the trainers are getting together and people involved in racing and going up for auction, where you can buy them or auction them on auction, and you become a slave for 2 or 3 hours. So I could get you and say, I want James Goodman, I've bought him for 12,000 Rand and he's my sex slave for 3 hours. You're a slave.
Thank God I handed in my license, so I'm not a trainer, so you can't have me.
But your racing personality?
No, you said trainers.
Okay, if you were a trainee.
If I was a trainer.
But you could get caught by a guy who says, I want you to clean the latrines for 3 hours.
I'm good at that.
No doubt.
No, I've done that before.
Did you do military training?
Yeah, I did.
So you'll know all about it.
Did you do military training?
Yeah, in your horse school. Yeah, was the horse school.
Yeah, I started the horse school.
There you go. Yeah. There you go.
So now the horse school.
I fixed it.
But I picked up manure. So I know about.
Yeah. But James, what's wonderful is that they're giving $1 million. Can you imagine in South Africa? We went, Cape Town went through the drought, and I know the Clover Flays of this world and places like that were really under the cosh, and they had to put a premium because they had to bring in water.
I'd like to see Justin Pretty Boy cleaning latrines. That would be good.
Oh, he'll knuckle down.
Yeah, he'll knuckle down.
Jono would video it.
Yeah, Jono would video it, but post it on Facebook.
Yeah, post it on Facebook. Yeah. But, so James, just getting back to the idea of racing personalities, trainers, jockeys saying, we want to make money.
What would be the most work a jockey would do in a week?
Yeah, 3 hours.
2 hours the cleaning.
Yeah, but you could get him to come and polish cars. You could get him to come and do dictating, anything.
Jockeys polish only Minis or Volkswagens. Hard to get to the top of a Lincoln Continental if you're a jockey.
But they don't drive those cars. They don't drive those.
You talk about that. Bill Shoemaker. You know how short he was. He was the shortest guy ever.
He was very short, yeah.
He drove the biggest Lincoln Continental you've ever seen. And he had 7 cushions on the seat. This big cushions.
Yeah, he was tiny.
Wonderful. And he had a wife who was blonde, Amazon, 6'1". She was the biggest girl.
So he got his priorities right.
Yeah.
Good old Bill Shoemaker. Him, unfortunately, he's passed on. So just staying with Australia, James. Winx runs this weekend coming in the race named after her. It's called the Winx Stakes or whatever. It's a 1,400-metre group race. And Waller has said that he's very impressed with where she's at. But unfortunately, he has to place, he's got so many good horses, he's placing 3 other top horses in against her. He said they'll make her pick up her feet. She's in a very good place. So it'll be interesting to see how she does.
Did you see her barrier trial? Her last barrier trial.
Her last one, she came 3rd.
Yeah. But she was unbelievable, hard held. In fact, she looked better than she's ever looked in her barrier trials.
He took her to see the surroundings, and so Waller does a good job.
Has there ever been a horse that's run in a race that's been named after it? You know, Arkle never ran in an Arkle Chase.
I see what you mean.
I mean?
No, I see what you mean, like the horse Chestnut and races like it. No, not that I can think of. So this could be a unique. Winks runs in the Winks.
Absolutely amazing. And I take my hat off to the owners for going another season with her.
Yeah.
You know, most people would want to send a mare like that to stud and start producing some foals and that. Great for racing.
Great for racing. Everyone wants to know what's going on with Winks. And James, just staying with top horses. They had the Jacques Moreau over the weekend, and Alpha Centauri won it again. It's now won its last 4 Group 1s over a mile. Top filly in Europe by Master Craftsman. And she's trained by the what's her name, the woman?
Jessica Harrington.
Thank you, Jessica Harrington. And there's talk of her going for the Arc.
Yeah. Will she get that trip?
I don't know.
You know, she's a mile, she's deadly, absolutely deadly.
She's beating them by a street.
And the amazing thing is Colma Donahue, who's basically O'Brien's 2nd or 3rd jockey, ended up riding for Jessica. I don't think he's ridden 4 Group 1 winners in his life.
And this is
and suddenly he's ended up on this filly and won everything. She's fantastic, absolutely fantastic.
What other news you got for me, James?
America, they had a big one in America, the Arlington Million, and obviously the Beverly Deed, which is for the fillies. But Chad Brown ran 1st and 2nd in the Arlington Million. But interestingly,
Chad the trainer,
yeah, Chad Brown, Chumpy. As if you go on to Indian Charlie, he calls him Chumpy. Chumpy Brown. Yeah.
Chumpy Brown.
Yeah, Chumpy ran 1st and 2nd. But the Argentine bred, so in fact it was a Chilean horse, but it was Argentine bred, won the race, and the Argentine bred ran 3rd. So,
gee, that's a feather. Do you remember the Apache running 2nd in this race? Remember, Johnny Murdoch wouldn't give Shay running room.
That was Shay. Shay never lived at that.
He never stopped talking about it. I don't blame him. The Apache should have won the
What do you call him? Johnny Murder.
Johnny Murder. From then on, he called him Johnny Murder. He said he cost me badly. But Arlington Million's been a big race for many years, James. It's a very good race.
Chicago.
Yes.
It's like this sort of flagship.
Yeah, it's their flagship race. It's a very good race. Yeah. Chumpy, eh?
Chumpy Brown. Awards in Cape Town. They had the big awards evening on Wednesday night. Yeah. Oh, Susanna.
Yeah, superb. Superb filly, you know, beautifully bred. And she's marched over most horses put in front of her. Yeah. Is she racing another season? I think she is.
Who knows?
Who knows?
Time will tell, but apparently she's still in training.
Yeah, you got those 2 top fillies. And Justin must have swept the boards.
Yeah, Justin, the Snaith, they won the Achievers Award and the Best Trainer, and Drockenstein won the Stud Award, obviously.
Yes.
They're the people that really look like the business. Smart Call.
Good filly.
She's been retired.
Okay. She's danced a few dances in the UK.
Well, she won a Group 3 her last start.
Right.
So,
that's right.
You know, she's really done it, multiple Group 1 winner. But what's interesting is where they're sending her. They're sending her to a horse called Kinsman.
Yeah, I know Kinsman.
Yeah. And he's at Juddmonte. And he'd be a perfect match, I would think, for an Ideal World mare. And he's going to make a name for himself. Certainly you'd like to have a mare like that. Fassick Tipton.
Got their figures up.
Whew.
Still going up.
20%, you know.
It's amazing.
20% higher.
It's absolutely amazing what returns these guys are getting for their horses. What is the other news you've got for me? Because sales worldwide are going up, and we've got sale coming up this week, James. Well, let's talk about it for a moment. You're going to be up there with your equine hub and have a look at a few horses and catch up with old friends, but it's a 2-day sale, James. I looked at the catalogue, some good stock, and this sale has thrown some very good horses.
I think it's probably going to be the best sale any owner would ever be able to attend.
Value-wise.
Yeah, value-wise. And then when they hear about Equine Hub, they'll be able to come into partnership with us on Equine Hub. At least I've got shoes on.
That's true. I was just looking at your Harman Rocks.
Yeah, well, they're better than the slops that you got on. And I wish Raymond could actually just lower the cameras to show the footwear, the quality of footwear we wear to the studio.
That's right.
Because
a lot of thought goes into it.
yeah, at least you're wearing pants this time, because you normally didn't.
Can we get back to the sale?
No, we can't. Let's finish with what you wear to the studio, because really your attire is not out the top drawer.
The penthouse is always good. The rest of the building battles a bit, but the penthouse is always good.
Okay, let's get back to the sale. All the top size,
yes,
all there.
All represented.
Top breeders, everyone's there.
A very good sale to go to.
2 days, Thursday and Friday.
Thursday and Friday. You got the Equus Awards on Tuesday night.
Equus Awards Tuesday night. Equine Hub Tuesday before the Equus Awards. 4 o'clock.
We're
at Emperor's.
Yeah, and is it an open invitation?
Absolutely. Anyone wants to come.
Anyone who wants to come listen to David Raphael and the team from Singapore and yourself.
Yeah.
I listened to it. I thought it was outstanding.
Yeah.
So let's hope you get people. If you got a chance, get out there. Pop out before the awards, or pop out there and just listen, even if you're not getting an award.
Exactly, but you'll get an award after you've listened.
Yeah, you will be.
Get a star and a pamphlet and whatever.
That's right.
61-year-old jockey in Japan, okay, rode his 7,152nd winner, which is a record.
A worldwide?
In Japan.
Sure.
Isn't that the world?
Just about.
Yeah, okay. Fumio Matuba.
Oh, Matuba did it.
Matuba, yeah.
Oh, okay. So he did it. I didn't think he'd run 7,000 Matuba.
It wasn't your Taki.
No, he's from Matuba. I know what you mean. So, you Taki. He's a good rider, James.
Yeah. But he's nowhere close to 7,000.
So this guy's made a deep impact.
He's made a very deep impact.
Yeah.
So he keeps. Is
he still riding?
It's even silence on Sundays.
That's right.
Yeah.
Is he still riding?
Yeah, he's still riding. They threw him up and down in the air, all the other jockeys.
Did they?
Yeah, I thought his false teeth fell out. And
his leg fell off, his hearing aid, his pacemaker moved up. But 61's not that old, James. Don't you start that.
Is that so?
Yeah, don't start that.
Okay.
So good luck to him. He's getting on the horse and he's riding 7,000 winners.
Yeah. 7,152. I think that's about it. We got David Raphael. Let's see. It's not finished yet. Monster Jam. Let's say Spielberg tells us this is what we got to attend.
You know, James, what I like about this, that the proceeds are going to go to the South African Jockey Academy.
Yeah.
Wonderful idea. I spoke to Mark, who's endorsing all this, and all the big high rollers will come into town. Are you going? You're a good player.
Mark Joseph.
Yeah, you're a good player.
Unfortunately, I have a prior engagement, so I can't go, but I think it's going to be absolutely fantastic.
Yeah, fantastic.
I've got to go to Joburg that weekend, and I've got work to do, but they're lucky I'm not going, because, I'm a very good poker player.
Yeah.
Very good. I've got a poker face.
You've got a poker face, that's no doubt. Eh? Been poked a few times with a poker.
People can't read.
Did you ever find that guy who threw a brick in your pram, James, when you were a baby? They never found him, eh?
No. It was terrible.
Terrible.
Actually,
so, James, the thing is, if you can't go, because you've got a prior engagement, who would you send to represent you? Who do you know who's good at that?
Graham Hawkins.
Yeah, he loves that.
He's a good poker. Or Mervyn Chetty.
Yes.
They're both good poker
I would say
players.
Trevor Furry. Trevor Furry is a fantastic gambler.
Trevor Furry.
Fantastic.
In Mauritius, we were playing poker.
Yes.
I took his whole stack from him, Trevor Furry.
Would you have a gun with you?
I had 4 4s, okay? And he had a full house. And I had 4 4s, and he went. And I suckered him into it.
So you're still dining out on it, so he must have made an impression on you.
Yeah, he was very, very aggravated, let me tell you.
All right,
he never read my 4 4s. But
if you want to go to Monster Jam?
It's for anyone who wants to play. You don't even have to really be a poker player. You can go and play golf. You can go and have some fun. And it's very reasonably priced. You can go and enjoy
a lot of fun.
Yeah.
That's the main thing.
So when you get to finish this segment and you want to go back and see and get the emails and that and speak to Mark Joseph, or I think is Phil involved?
Phil Georgia.
But he puts together all these.
Let's Go Travel. Yeah, he helps get people down there and that. Yeah, no, good.
Okay, we're going to be back with David Raphael. Well, welcome to this segment of Your Call. And as I said to you, we've got David Raphael, the Executive Director of Equine Hub, in the studio. He'll be telling us a bit about that. But for those of you that don't know anything about David Raphael, let's take a listen to what he's probably most famous for as far as South Africans are concerned. This was the QE2 Cup when famously London Call won.
Okay, the gates are back and they're off to the roar of the crowd. London News, the South African, has jumped quite well, but Oriental Express going forward and Privilege, as expected, wanting to take up the running. Privilege in the middle is trying to cross over London News and will do so. Oriental Express deep third, and Anas Mirabilis is poised beautifully fourth. Peak of Perfection fifth the inside. Adjurati is deep around DeVille, and Minor Bridge getting back with also the Grey Avedon. City Luck is three deep around it with Sapio. The front runner is still Privilege. Off the back section near the 1,000, it's Privilege by 2. London News is second. Anas Mirabilis trying to wheel the leader in, goes to third from Oriental Express. Next DeVille, Adjurati and Perfect Bound in the straight, 400 to go. It's Privilege in front. London News and Anas Mirabilis go up to him. The South African in the middle draws to the lead now. London News goes to Privilege. Anas Mirabilis three deep at them. Privilege won't give in. London News, the pride of South Africa, goes up and goes to the lead. Privilege on the inside is coming again. London News in front. Privilege won't give in. London News doing the better, and London News, he's everything they said, and he wins. London News by a half. The raps on him were as big as you could imagine. The South African brigade told us he was going to be measured as one of the greats of the world. They've been in the wilderness for many years, and many question the depth of the South African race.
Well, there you are, the London Call, London News. David Raphael, nice to have you in the studio with us.
What a pleasure. It's an absolute pleasure to be here. You know, I'm here for work and we're trying to build something new, but I feel as though I've got to apologise to everybody that I haven't dropped a line and said I'm here and catch up with, because I always feel whenever I come here I'm catching up with my mates. It's just the way that we all are.
You got mates in South Africa?
Yeah, no, I've got mates. Yeah, I had considered you, but I've travelled with you this week, so I don't know if that's going to stand up for long.
Yeah, but Paul Lafferty's one of your mates. So
yeah,
you can,
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, a victim in crime.
David and I have been around the world. I remember one day in Perth, we went to a horse sale and we had a few Sharpies, and we all went in a big bus. We got back to the bus, there was no driver. Yeah. Guess who the driver became?
They almost threw me in jail. It was
That was Raphael. We've travelled a few countries, you and I.
We've been to a lot of places. I think that's one of the big things about racing, isn't it? We're all here doing what we should do, and look, I'm not ashamed to say it. I probably had the IQ when I started life to be digging holes and got confused about whether I dug them down or dug them up. And I figured it out, and somehow racing's given me a platform to do a lot of amazing things and meet a lot of amazing people. So for me, racing's quite a provider. People
don't know much of you beyond you being an international race caller. You did the Arlington Million, didn't you?
Yeah, I've called all
over the place. I remember. Do you remember you and I doing Royal Ascot together? Yeah. Bonsky and I were with you. It was fantastic.
Top hat, the Queen smiled at me.
That's right. You know, it's a lot of people don't know what you achieved as a bloodstock agent, and that's one of your fields. And for you who don't know, he bought a horse called Rubik by Costa del Lago, and you paid 300 or something, and you and your mate, you bought this horse, and he was a superstar, and you sold him to Coolmore for a big profit.
Yeah, we started a group. I mean, we had this idea for bloodstock. We started a group, and we were going to try and make a quid out of it, and everybody said we'd last a year, and we're 7 years down the track, and we've gone from a couple of horses at the sales and bought with partners and others, signed all the dockets, took the responsibility. I mean, Rubik's been a success. He was 460, and now he's favoured to be leading first season sire. Fantastic. Quite an incredible story. And we've bought horses from $5,000 to 1.8 million, and the 50 grand are paid for the 1.8 million, as it always does. Yeah. He was slow, and the other one was very fast. But every horse that we've bought, bar 4, and I bought a lot of horses, have made the races. Yeah. Some have been slow, some have been fast, some have been great earners. We've had winners in multiple countries, had winners here, Singapore.
Did you retain shares in Rubik when you sold?
Yeah, we've still got a good portion of Rubik, so we're there for the long haul.
The long haul, eh? Sure. That is fantastic. Well, it's wonderful to have me, and you and old Handsome over there have got involved in something. I think you guys should start telling us about Equine Hub.
Well, before we do that, let's just talk about a race that was very special to you, and we thought we'd show it as well. Vengeance of Rain. He was a horse that made Anthony Del Pesce's career, basically. Yeah. But he was on the Tenterhooks.
I always think it's interesting when you look at a race. Sometimes you watch a race and it's the story behind that's the really interesting part about it. And for me, that race was about Anthony, and the owners were trying to kick him off the horse, and he'd done nothing wrong. The horse kept winning, but you could see there was conflict, and me on the media side of the fence, we could tell that. And on the day, I didn't realise it to be such a big thing, but Anthony's a really likeable guy. He got on well with everybody in Hong Kong. We all, at that time, everybody was... It was one big family in Hong Kong. Might have changed a bit in recent years, but that's the way it was then. And as a caller, I suppose I stuck up for Anthony as well, and I didn't do it intentionally, but the call was great, and to me that race is special because I remember Anthony was happy that he won it, but when he listened to the call, and as a broadcaster, you try and tell a story, and in a roundabout way I told his story, just by a few words, and not intentional, it just happened that way.
I think we should have a look at it and see if you can pick up what happens when they turn for home.
West coming in front, goes as he likes by 1 to Apollo. River Dancer third, Touch of Land four, but he's deep. Vengeance of Rain right in the middle, and Alexandra Gold Run on the bridle in the slow tempo on the fence in 5 and 6. Mara Held Pride next from Russian Pearl and Green Treasure last of all. Down the back stretch, and it's still out in front, rolling Willow West. The Yankee, the Delmar Derby winner of the 1200, leads by 3/4. Apollo second, Touch of Land is still 3, River Dancer 4, Vengeance of Rain, the Hong Kong champion in 5. Alexandra Gold Run going for back-to-back cups is 6 on the fence at the 1000. Marahel tracking from Russian Pearl, Pride and Green Treasure is still last of all. Front runner still and picking it up a little bit, Widower West. Wanted to climb a bit as he runs to the corner, but he travels one in front, switches stride for a moment. Apollo second, River Dancer third, Touch of Land 4 from Vengeance of Rain. Alexandra Gold Run next, Marahel, they roll a bit quicker, no record still. Russian Pearl, Pride and Green Treasure last of all. He asked Widower West to try and pick up a bit more on the corner, 600 out. Leads by half a length. Apollo travels well. Touch of Land right there, River Dancer, Vengeance of Rain gets the card in. Alexandra Gold Run trying to push him out of the way. Delpech says, stay there, I go first. Marahel Pride next, Russian Pearl to the inside. Apollo went straight past the Yank. Touch of Land, River Dancer. Alexandra Gold Run went for the run on the fence, and all shot on her, and Vengeance of Rain ran up, but Pride's coming on. Marahel closing, Pride is running at Vengeance of Rain. Vengeance of Rain is going to length, Pride cutting her back with every stride, half a length in it. Vengeance of Rain fights and wins the cup. Vengeance of Rain, the world champion now, wins it from Pride. Marahel, Russian.
Unconscious, you just said it.
Yeah, I mean, the owners were trying to bump him from the horse, and it was, he tried to get bumped out by Alexandra Gold Run and just dropped the line. And, sometimes when we broadcast things, it's quite important to obviously get A from B and C right, but you want to tell your own story. And, at that point, that's what I was able to do. When I started as a kid, they said, just call ABC, and I'm not a character you can contain. I think there's a story to tell.
You started, you're telling me, harness racing.
Yeah, as a little kid, I was 13 or 14.
And dogs.
Yeah, well, as a caller, I started at greyhounds and trots. As a kid, I grew up doing trotters. So by the time I was 14, I was driving fast work, I was shoeing, started to learn to do some acupuncture. I knew a horse from start to finish. I worked with a dentist, with a vet. Like, I was mad on horses. Before school, how many 13-year-olds get on their bike and ride to the stables in the morning and then go after school and do what they've got to do? I was destined to do what I wanted to do, and that was horse racing. And there was a fella that called at the trials, at the harness racing trials. It was a donate job. Once you started, you weren't allowed to leave, and there was no money in it. And he was terrible. And he'd call the horses, and he'd go in front ears, and I'd point at the bit of paper next to him, this kid in the box. So he'd just look at the bit of paper, and I'd point at the horses, and that's how we called the races. So he looked at me and said, well, you better have a go at this. And I thought, I'm not doing this. I came back next week and had a go, and that was the starting point.
David, obviously you're here for Equine Hub. This is a starting point of a whole new thing in your life, in my life, we think in horse racing's life.
Yeah. Look, we've developed a platform that we think is going to really revolutionise all of the issues in the racing for integrity issues. I mean, there's internally in the racing industry, we all know how it works. But I think that audience is decreasing. The evidence suggests that around the world. People buying horses. Obviously at the top end, the market's so strong. The big investors are coming in and they're really buying the quality bloodstock for huge amounts of money. But when you start to dissect the numbers, the ownership base is decreasing, the prices are increasing around the world, and to some extent South Africa's facing that every day. You've had your issues. There's a lot of issues everywhere in the world. As an industry, we get up and get on with it. But how do we get the industry to the next level? And how do we question and answer all those things for integrity? And without getting technical, blockchain systems are used by banks and medicals and IP. Music providers are using it. Integrity's not question, when you're using a blockchain system. And it's something that needs to come into racing, I believe. You know, the guy that does the right thing, how do you know? You know, the line I use is, this horse has never had a sore day in its life. How do you know? With a blockchain system, it's factual. It can't be questioned. You know the evidence is there in front of you. And then we can use that system to promote to an audience and make it accessible to an audience that's not normally a racing audience. They can't afford it. They're unknown about the integrities and all of those issues that we all live with every day. And I think it's important for racing to do.
How do we get the authorities to buy into this?
Well, how do we get the authorities? We put the program up in front of them and we show them what we can do. For example, there's some countries, without going into naming countries and the like, but they've been trying to build a system for 7 years now. Factual, I've had conversations with them before I started on this journey, and they still haven't got it right. And David's walked in the door and said, here's the product, it works. So they've got to get over the pride factor, I suppose, that we've been trying to build it, but we can't. Okay, here's a system. And essentially, we're not charging a fee for a service. You know, if a company needs to do something and we need 3 people to change their operation so it fits in, that's fine, that will be charged. We're building a platform that covers a whole aspect of the industry. We're not a syndication company, we're not a network provider, we're not a marketing company. We're building a platform that the industry can use and get a benefit from. We'll charge a fee for that in regards to a trade or whatever, an insequential amount. We put a lot of money in to build it, so we've got every right to charge that fee, but the leverage is there for everybody.
Okay, well, let's have a look at the screen and see what this is all about. And you can just talk us through briefly what the points are. So Raymond will put it up for us. And obviously the exchange is a thing that really interests a lot of people in racing.
Like trainers will definitely be most interested in the exchange and owners. And what I was talking about, it's sort of a web, I suppose, to some extent, of different systems that can build. So a syndication company, to some extent, can be an exchange. But a system like this, because of blockchain, the assurity of ownership and transfer of ownership, and each region decides how they want to do with that. South Africa, we're the registered owner of the horse. The horse is traded and there's an agreement between everybody about the way the horse is traded. And that exchange factor provides that marketplace and a secondary market for the racing industry. But it's secure, there's no markups, everybody knows that's the price you're paying, that's the deal that it is. So it gives confidence to people as it grows. We're going to run a marketplace as well, so we'll become like an Alibaba. I wouldn't say we'll become an eBay, but for the industry it will be specific, and we're broadcasting to a global network. So if you want to buy a bag of feed from down the road and person A is selling it for 100 and you know he's put the price up, you can go on the marketplace exchange and you can look at it and say I should be paying 80, and you can click place an order. When the goods deliver, the transaction's secure and it happens. So you know the goods will be delivered, you know the process is correct, you've got an overview of the price point.
So that's a blockchain technology, because that allows you to do that. You only pay on receipt, and that happens everywhere.
Yeah, there's a process from start to finish. I mean, it can take an hour to explain blockchain, or it can take 2 minutes. And the simple thing is, it's a decentralised system. So you put your money to a bank or you give information to a server, somebody can access it. There's no security other than the firewall they put up. With a blockchain system, the information's spread right across the board, and there's whole different parties that are involved in storing that information as such. Competing parties in the same industry, it's like it's been built for horse racing. And for a transaction to happen from point A to point B, all the parties need to tick off. One person, red light, the transaction doesn't happen. So that's the basis of what a blockchain system is.
Okay, we move on to the next facet of it, and there are the 8 facets to it, and everyone interlinks to everyone, doesn't it?
Yeah, exactly. And if you think about one part, another part works. So an exchange, if you want an independent opinion, you can go to the marketplace and find an independent bloodstock agent. We approve, we give a green tick to, that's our brand. There's no issues with them in that respect, that they're verified, and you can look at that marketplace and find somebody to help you. I think the blockchain depository is the most interesting thing. We can run the stud book automated fully at a click of a button. So we can get away from a system where any manual input is required to run a stud book. A horse can go past the post, the results are uploaded, and effectively at that end of day, whenever the information's traded at 10 PM or whatever, results loaded, the stud book is updated, automated. It's very... it's an opinion that people will have, hang on a minute, what about somebody that works in the office and does it? It's a very disruptive system. But the world needs to change, and the world's changed with internet and all the other aspects of it. And something like this, I look at it as though it builds our industry and it puts our industry out there to a new audience. You know, in a depository situation with a stud book, an automated stud book that can be linked globally,
David, just if I can ask you a couple of questions coming in here. What I liked when I spoke to you earlier were the ideas where trainers can get horses on there.
Yeah.
It benefits them, it goes into the system, and owners can go onto the site and say, I'd like to buy a share in Winks.
Yeah.
I'd like to buy a share.
Exactly.
If Winks is up there, and the shares are going to be right down to small shares, and you can put in an offer for a share. And guys will have good horses being offered for, whatever you. And I like the idea that you've got guarantees, and you've got a situation where if the horse is no good, you've got a horse in there, and suddenly it does a tender and nothing. You have the adopter horse. You've got. Yeah. So tell us a bit about that.
So we're going to run a charity arm, and each country's so different. But we've made the consensus that. We made the direction that if there's a charity, I can talk for Australia, for example. I've set up my own not-for-profit trust, which is a long process, and thankfully we filled that out as quickly as anybody has done. Actually, the government head rang me personally. I was a bit surprised. He said, "Your presentation, quite incredible. Tell me about the product you're doing." And we're approved as a not-for-profit, which is not an easy thing to do. Yeah. So we're going to work with that organisation, and we're going to help different parties on the ground in Australia, and we'll provide services. If they can't pay the feed bill, we'll assist to pay the feed bill where we can. We'll donate. People can follow a horse. Maybe they can donate directly to that horse. And there's a check system in place to follow that. And again, it's something that the industry wants. And the regulatory bodies of each region, they've got their own issues to deal with. The registration department or the racing department or all of the different actions, their key focus is clearly this is the job they've got to do, and we hope that the interaction between everybody drives the industry. Well, I think a system like this brings the control to you, the trainer, or you, the owner. We're not managing or manipulating that. We're putting a system out that everybody can access, get leverage, and then together we promote and drive the industry globally under one banner. If you trade a horse, you pay $100,000 for it and wins a race and it looks like a rocket, you rightfully can trade some of that horse for whatever price that you question or you put up. It's up to the buyer to determine whether they want to buy that or not.
So you can put it up as shares available at this price?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay, and what I like about is that you're going to have a situation of if a guy puts 10 of his horses up on there, he will have a situation where he has to pay the keep to you guys. You run the keep.
Well, no, actually, we don't hold the money. So the trainer or the owner, what happens is the transaction comes through us, and because of a blockchain system, it's facilitated directly to the trainer. So in effect, we are collecting the funds, but the reality is because of blockchain technology and the system, the funds go directly to the trainer. Everybody's assured of payment. Yeah. So it's not as though we're holding and we're paying out and delaying. For trainers, we keep coming up with a date. Every month we pay you on the 7th. Because funds are paid in advance.
That's a big plus. That's a big plus. Getting you guys on there and getting them all up.
I think the whole part to this as well is for an owner it's created a secondary market. If there's 10 mates in a horse and somebody's got to get out of the horse, here's a platform for you to do it without a conflict. You can put your 10% up and sell it, or you can sell fractions of that 10% of the horse. Yeah. So it opens the network. Why buy one? You could buy 20 horses. Buy a fractional slice. Get the information from the trainers. You put all the information up. You're building your network to a global audience. There could be somebody in America or in Ireland, in Thailand, wherever.
Who might want to share an horse in South Africa. Goes on to the Equine Hub and has a look at what's available. Yeah. Sounds very good.
David, obviously we've done a roadshow to a lot of people over the last week, but tomorrow, which is Tuesday, at Emperor's Palace, just before the Equus Awards, we're going to do a show, presentation, proper presentation, because we've just run through this quickly on our show so that people get an idea. But this is going to globally change racing because Equine Hub intends going to all the major racing countries in the world.
Yeah, we've got a long-term vision with this. We're not popping up in one country and then just trying to provide a service. Our audience is the globe, and I think that's what racing needs. I can only repeat that 100 times, and everybody in the industry believes that. Tomorrow at 4 o'clock at Emperor's Palace, all the details have been sent out to a lot of people, and they can contact you and the like. The information's there online and the like. Come and have a look at what we're doing if you're interested, and it's an information seminar. We're getting to retail place. We've been talking to the trainers and owners, telling them this is what we need. We need you to support this so that you get something out of it. Because essentially we've built a system that's going to benefit the people that are in the industry on the ground trying to make a quid, trying to make a living, trying to build a business. And it's also going to be a benefit to the people that are outside the industry that have no idea about it. Like, there's an untapped audience here. That's the fact. And there is an untapped audience globally. It's up to the industry players, it's up to us to promote our industry. It's not up to a regulator to do that. They're not the promotion company. You're the trainee, that's your brand. Develop your own brand. Use Equine Hub as the base to do it, broadcast to the world, and then all of a sudden, We're building our own industry and bringing it up for the qualities that it is. Integrity driven.
Thank you so much for joining us. Lef?
Yeah, no, I think everyone's got to get down there. I've listened to your, this is just, as I say, the tip of the iceberg we're talking about. When I listened to the whole show, it was outstanding. And I know for those of you out there who can't get out there tomorrow, who want to get hold of either David or James, James will be running it from this part of the world, and they will phone you up and iron out any little problems you have. It's a wonderful idea.
Well, more importantly, it's wonderful to be here.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's always wonderful to be here.
It's always great.
Pity we didn't have another 10 minutes. I could tell you the stories about having to travel with this guy.
No, you don't want to know. You don't want to know.
No, you don't want to know, so we're going to wrap it up because we run out of time. No more chance to actually slag me. This is all they've wanted to do. We're looking forward to next week. We're looking forward to our presentation of Equine Hub tomorrow, as I said, at Empress Palace. That will be the full unabridged version. But you've got a taste now. This is something that's going to affect every single owner and trainer and horse person in the world, we think, down the line. You can come and be part of it. Thanks for watching, and we look forward to seeing you soon.
Fiorella's making a big race of it. Snow Dance is going to have to dig down. Fiorella's on the outside. Snow Dance just clinging to the lead. It's close. They hit the line, and I think Fiorella got her. Snow Dance now gets the wake-up call, comes into the lead from Redberry Lane on the inside, and it's Snow Dance by 1 or 2 lengths. Premier Dance the outside, Snow Dance, Redberry Lane, but Snow Dance is holding on. Redberry Lane's coming back, but oh, it's too close.
Celtic Sea's all over them. Can you keep it secret on the inside? Vivier's running on, but Celtic Sea catching the right wave home with Inbarrage. Mighty High's flying on the outside. Mighty High got Celtic Sea.
Black Cat back, Rocky Valley, Will Pays on the inside, but it's now Sunset Eyes the leader. Down the inside, Will Pays a big runner, and Will Pays coming to get them all. Will Pays won at Attenborough second.
But it's Captain America in front. Captain America, with short of 200 metres left to go, is travelling strongly and looks to have it all parcelled up. Sail South is giving chase, but Captain America in front.
Your world of winners is now online at www.teletrack.com. Simply subscribe to log into your account from any mobile device in South Africa and access a wide variety of content from our membership package options. Listen in via a live audio stream, catch live racing locally and internationally, or view a wide variety of Teletrack magazine shows to stay informed and updated on the go at any time. It's never been easier. Go to teletrack.com now.